of us have actually mastered the art of saying I'm fine when we are carrying silent storms, not because we do not really care or we are untouched by, whatever challenges we go through, but just because we feel like we've mastered the art of masking our struggles, our silent pain. So today we are going to name them, and on this month's edition of The Ties, I've got a meticulous and beautiful mental health nurse with me. So she's going to, this is not about like we're trying to identify or name a particular thing. This is just a discussion. We're just trying to rub minds, and we know that a lot of people mask their pain, a lot of people mask, the silent storm. So now, because she's in the mental health sector, we just want to rub minds on why people mask their pain and the courage to actually name them. So welcome to this month's edition of The Ties, and I hope you enjoy this discussion in this month's edition of The Ties.
I want you all to meet someone who shows up strong in mind, body and heart. By profession, she's a dedicated mental health professional, supporting others with care and compassion. By choice, she's always in motion, running miles, hitting the gym, and diving into the pool. But beyond the scrubs and workouts, what really stands out is she's a genuinely sweet soul. This is someone who cares deeply, lives actively, and inspires quietly just by being themselves. We warmly welcome Bethany Lee as our guest for this month's edition of The Tides. To connect with her, follow her Instagram page showing on the screen.
I've got a beautiful mental health nurse with me named by Bethany Lee. Hello, Bethany.
Hello, thank you for having me.
In fact, I can tell you that it was not really easy bringing her to this platform. I did a lot of on-the-gym work, like bringing her to actually comply to come to this platform. So thank you so much for coming, and thank you for gracing this invite. So how are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for wanting me here on the show. It's an honour, and it's flattering. It's really nice.
Yeah, before we move on, you look stunning. You look beautiful.
So do you.
Thank you. If anybody asks you, oh, how are you? You just say, I'm fine. But behind that, I'm fine. Are you truly fine? So let's dive into why we think people mask their silent storms. And don't forget, in this month's edition of The Tides, we're talking about the mask we master, the hidden storms behind I'm fine. My name is Omoshola, and welcome back to The Tides. Bethany, I know I have the understanding that you've been practicing. I've seen you. I know how meticulous you are with your work. But I needed Bethany to actually share her insights with us. And what does it mean when we say people suffer silently? What do you mean? What does it mean to suffer silently? And why do you think so many people, they become experts at hiding their pain? I, for example, I can be going through some challenges, and I'm just like, I don't want to be vulnerable. Like, I don't want people to know what I'm actually, unless I have actually trust you to that extent. And even with that, betrayal happens. So in your own opinion, what does it mean to suffer silently, and why do you think so many people become experts at hiding their pain?
So for me, when I think about suffering silently, it's the emotional, physical, psychological pain that people are experiencing, but the outside world doesn't know anything about it. Mm-hmm. So from the outside, someone might seem composed, they might seem happy, they might seem like they're thriving even. They might seem like they're the strongest person in the room, when actually inside they're crumbling, inside they might be anxious, they might be upset, they might be going through grief, they might be experiencing so many emotions, but on the outside they might look stoic, or they might pretend that everything's okay. And the reason why I feel, in my experience, why people do this is a number of things. It could be that they don't want to burden the people around them. They feel like they aren't able to trust anybody, let anybody in, or let people hold their vulnerable state, for example. But also for some people, having that strength is part of their identity, and they feel like that they need to hold up this standard of strength to the whole world in case people think that they're maybe not as strong as they think they are, when a misconception is that strength means that you should be great all the time, when actually being strong and having the courage to speak out is strength. It's not pretending that everything's okay all the time. It's actually being open and honest and true about how you're feeling, because when someone says that to me, that I'm really struggling, I think that you're really strong for coming forward to talking to someone about it.
Absolutely.
And also in my personal experience, the reason why I don't always talk about what's going on is because I like to have a sense of control. So I know some people share that same feeling, that they feel like they can control what's going on around them by not sharing what they're feeling, because if they let that all out, it's all chaotic.
Okay. Yeah, I think this is actually common. Like, people don't want to look like I'm a weakling, like I'm not strong enough to master or to control what I'm going through. I remember I posted one a write-up on my Facebook page one time like that, and I was talking about, it was International Men's Day, so I actually praised our men, that I know they're going through a lot, and I said something to end my write-up that vulnerability is not a weakness, especially for men. They just want to put up everything. They don't want to divulge. They don't want to share their pain. And somebody commented and like, no, vulnerability it's not. I don't know how the person framed it. Like, it's not okay to be vulnerable. That it's not okay to show. I was like, this person must have had a very bad experience sharing their feelings. So I was like, if you don't mind, I would like to know the reason why you said so, but I didn't get a response. So I know a lot of people actually want to be in control, like Bethany has said. They want to be in control of that situation and not that, and also they don't want to burden people around them. And a lot of parents are in this category. If you have kids, of course, if you are going through that, you want to sit your child down, a child that is not yet mature to understand what you're going through, and start telling your child what you're going through. But I personally believe that there should be someone. It's not about going about telling people about your problems, your challenges, but I personally believe that there should be someone that will just share whatever we are going through, our struggle, our silent storm with. Like this proverb that says that problem shared is half solved. So Bethany, how do quiet battles, like I know in mental health we have something like anxiety, depression, all this these quiet battles like anxiety, the grief, the burnout or shame disguise themselves in our daily routines. I'm not talking about those people that have been certified, that have been diagnosed to have, maybe anxiety or depression. But I also believe that everybody at one point or the other will be depressed, we've been anxious before. So how do these quiet battles like this anxiety, the grief, the burnout, how does it disguise themselves in our daily routines? Maybe you're just walking and what are those things you will see that you know that this person is actually going through a quiet storm?
I agree that I think a lot of people go through things that maybe aren't considered a mental illness, for example, like they just have general anxiety, they're going through some circumstantial situation that maybe brings them down for a period, but it's not to say that they're depressed or anything like that. So for these sort of people, I think the anxiety, grief and burnout, there are subtle signs that it comes out in their everyday life. So for example, anxiety, you might feel like somebody's overthinking or being over-prepared, or they might be a bit irritable, a bit more tense. You might see like their body language is different, they might be jerking their knee, or they might be tense, and you can just see like this subtle thing in their body that they maybe are dealing with something. I know that when I go to work, people notice the difference in me when I'm not feeling my best. They're like, you look so different. Like if I'm not coming in and I'm not bubbling, they're like, what's wrong with you? So it's people have little tells, and the more you know a person, the easier it is to know these signs. And then for things like grief and burnout, I would probably describe that as maybe being more emotionally blunt or flat, and not really having much motivation to do things, and you're putting on this face, and you're just kind of like getting by on autopilot, just trying to get through the days really. And I feel like people would notice it more the better they know you.
I remember I went for an interview of recent, and I could see that even the interviewer, they could see that I'm very anxious. I was very anxious, and I was just like I didn't know what to expect. I was, I could read the room that, oh, this lady, she's really anxious, and of course I can be. These are some signs, and it could be because maybe you are preparing for something and you're just anxious about how it's going to go, the situation of things. So it might be temporary, while some can be a long-term thing. This is what has been happening. And of course, you need to show up for work in your sane sense, to work for whatever work you are doing. You just have to learn to put that aside. Then I think this will move us to the next question. Are there any subtle signs that shows that people may mask emotional exhaustion, with productivity, politeness, or perfectionism? You will see some people, they are very polite. They are so, they seek that perfectionism, and or maybe they just these are good things. When somebody is productive, when you want to perfect things, and when you are very polite, these are good things. But then, are there any subtle sign that shows that people may mask emotional exhaustion with productivity, politeness, or perfectionism?
So I think, to start with, I think productivity, politeness, and perfectionism, when done in a way to mask your emotions, ultimately leads to burnout. So the more you put on this face of trying to be perfect and polite and pretending that you're okay for the outside world to either not see how you're really feeling, or to just have a front, and the productivity you put too much on your plate, you eventually lead to burnout, because you're putting up all these masks that take so much effort and energy that eventually it all comes crashing down, and you're like, what can I give? What do I do? I can't give any more. And then you end up maybe doing the complete opposite, and you end up being rude and snappy, and you end up going from being productive to being
so low,
procrastinating, low, not doing anything, and instead of being perfectionism, you're actually can't be bothered anymore. And I think the subtle signs of people doing those things would be the idea of kind of just getting on with it, having this attitude of, I'm just going to get on with it, and just kind of plodding through. But also putting too much on their plate. So you see people trying to take on responsibility, saying yes to too many things because they don't want to experience how they're actually feeling. So they're trying to put more on their plate to not give them space, time to actually sit there and be like, oh no, I'm not okay right now. And there's a clear lack of energy in somebody, but they're still pushing to meet standards and expectations for their partner, their boss, their colleagues, their friends, and you can see that somebody is just genuinely exhausted by doing all of that.
Honestly, thank you so much for those points. Those points are very cogent, because I could remember I was having this conversation with somebody who is having marital challenges at home, and the person was just like, my only escape is just for me to pick up more shifts, more work. But does that actually solve the issue?
It's avoidant.
Exactly. That does not actually solve the issue. You're just trying to avoid. You're escaping from and it's just temporarily. You will still, when you go back to work and you come back,
problem's still there.
You still meet the problem there. So having said this, are there ways we can learn to recognize those signs in ourselves before burnout becomes breakdown? Like those of us that work in the mental health sector, the work can be so demanding. It can at times be draining, no matter your passion. But we still have that passion because it is something we are passionate about. We just want to carry on going. But in case we do not know, Are there ways we can learn to recognize those signs in ourselves before burnout becomes breakdown?
There definitely is ways that people can recognize the signs from themselves, and it's not easy. Sometimes it can be easier with somebody. So if you're close with somebody and you have a lot of friendships or partners, they are probably the best people to get advice from, to tell you when you're starting to become different, when you're starting to burn out. And if you aren't really close to people, or you are self-aware yourself, I would probably recommend that you look back on your previous experiences when you've been in burnout and you recognise the signs, because we are creatures of habit and we tend to go to our default coping mechanisms. So the way you used to cope, or the way you had previously burnt out, you're going to probably have the same signs again. So I would say being self-aware and really think about how you burnt out before, the signs leading up to it. Was it poor sleep? Was it irritability? Was it putting more on your plate? Was it poor motivation? Whatever it may be. Was it more anxiety, more stress? Pick up all these little things, and then when you are going through another burnout, you say, oh, I'm doing that now. Maybe I need to give myself a break. Maybe I should take a step back, go on holiday, get your nails done, do something to make you feel
refreshed,
better. 100%. So you're kind of looking out for these warning signs. That's what we call it in mental health, when someone is deteriorated. We look out for these warning signs, and that's a good way to look at it in your own personal life, is identify your own warning signs so you can catch it before it leads to a breakdown.
Oh wow, that's fantastic. Absolutely. And that is why we just go for vacation, give yourself a break, because sometimes even when you decide to, you recognize those signs like Bethany has rightly identified, and when you recognize those signs, it's just like, oh, these are signs of me burning out. If I don't want to break down, what do I do? When you are taking that break, we are not saying you should take the break and go and lock yourself in your room or lock yourself up, but take a break and try to step out. Even though you don't have the financial, what it takes to go on an expensive or luxurious holiday, vacation, move around, go to park, go to places, just step out of the house, like. Personally, for me, it works for me. Viewing the scenery, natural habitat, taking a walk. These are things. If you're someone that loves reading, journaling, reflecting, these are things that could help you to come back to your usual self. When you take a break, when things are so overwhelming, take a break. We are not saying that, okay, you shouldn't spend time alone as well. You can spend time alone, try to reflect what works for you, what is working, what do you need to do. These are coping mechanisms. When you have recognized these symptoms, these signs in yourself that, okay, these are repetitive signs, like the person has mentioned, you know that you have passed through this phase before. So these are repetitive signs. Oh, this thing is happening to me and I don't want it to lead to breakdown. So what do I do? My dear sister, take a break. Dear brother, take a break. Wherever you are watching from, take a break. So in order for us to, I think I have 2 more questions to ask our esteemed guest here. But before then, if you're watching this and you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do well to subscribe, do well to like, share, let this message, let it spread it across to people that may need it. Don't forget, we are looking at the topic, the mask we master, the hidden storms behind I'm fine. When someone you genuinely appreciate tells you, how are you? Don't just say I'm fine. Don't just say I'm fine. I want you to unmask it, and together we rise above the tides. Don't forget, this platform is for people, encouraging people to rise above whatever challenges they're going through, to be resilient even in the face of storms. So please keep subscribing, keep liking, keep sharing, keep appreciating our esteemed guests, and thank you for watching this. Okay. So I've got some more questions to ask you, and having said all of this, how do we protect our peace while still remaining open to love, help, and transformation? Okay, now the reason why I asked that question is that sometimes we have people that they've been let down when it comes to relationship and disappointment, betrayal, and these people are not, they are not open to any love from anybody. You know, even if it is from their friends, betrayal from friends. You know, there's some friendship that you put that you have trusted them with some vital information, and you just got betrayed because they shared this, or they did something, or they came back to you and start using those things you have shared before against you. You know, how do we protect our peace? Because all of this can actually take someone's peace, that, okay, who do I want to trust again? You know, how do we protect our peace while still remaining open to love, to help, and transformation?
And I think that's a really important question, and it's a question that a lot of people do struggle with, because like you say, when you're hurt by someone, you automatically think someone else is going to do it again.
Exactly.
So you're like, let me put my guard up, let me have my walls so high and thick that no one can hurt me and break them down again. But it's also important to remember that not everybody is the same. As in, not everybody's going to hurt you, and as much as you think that people aren't trustworthy, there's not everybody is evil. There is people that love, people who can care, and people who
How do we know?
I'm yet to figure that out myself.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think your instincts will definitely let you know.
Definitely.
And I think we can start by taking one step at a time. Don't overshare. If you feel like your instinct is telling you that trust this person enough, you know, share little. Okay.
So that's one of the things that I wanted to say was kind of you choose who you're vulnerable with. So you have the people that you feel safe with, that you feel able to overshare maybe, and then you know when to hold back information. So trust your intuition, trust your gut, and kind of know when you can be vulnerable. But then also being kind of emotionally responsible, and have some discernment when it comes to your emotions, and have your boundaries in place. So be assertive with what you need, what you want, and have your boundaries, and make sure you stick by them, so people don't overstep, and when they do, you tell them that you've overstepped and how it made you feel. And if they don't, if they respond in a way that is not respectful of your boundaries, and that's reflecting on them and not you, because your emotions are valid. And I also think it's important to be honest when you're struggling, and switching that perspective from that strength is omitting your emotions, when actually it's courageous to admit that you have them, and saying that to the people that you're trying to connect with.
Absolutely. Those are very valid points. Like, you need to learn to maintain safe boundaries, and you need to escalate. Like, if you know that somebody is actually pushing that boundary beyond what you can't accommodate, you have to let them know. And whatever reaction they put up is not on you but on them. Thank you so much, Bethany, for that intelligent response. Thank you so much. Honestly, a lot of people struggle to say no. A lot of people struggle. They keep accepting, and they know they are not comfortable. So speak up, because by so doing, you are protecting your peace. So whatever thing you need to do to protect yourself, to be mentally safe, is on you, and it is your responsibility. So take on to that advice and keep protecting your peace. On to the last question for my esteemed guest. Okay, so now talking about the future generations, those people that are still coming up, how can we teach future generations that courage is not the absence of struggle, but the willingness to face it? When you say courage, you know, when we talk about that courage, the courage to speak up, like you say, you have to be honest with yourself. What is happening to me? Just be sincere with yourself. Be sincere with the struggle, what you are struggling with. So how can we let the future generation, how can we teach them that courage itself is not absence of struggle, but the willingness to face it? What can we do to make them understand, to teach our future generations about this, in order for them to be able to continue to protect their mental health?
I think the best thing we can do is be the best role model that we can be to our kids and the younger generation, your neighbour, the people you work with, your friends, your family. Just be the best role model. And you mentioned earlier that sometimes you can't obviously talk to your kids about how you're feeling. There is a time and a place to share with your kids how you feel, and there's probably things you wouldn't share, but there's things that you could share. So I think being open and being a role model to your kids about that it's okay to be hurt and be upset. Obviously, if your kids are certain ages, you would only share so many things and be truthful to some extent, but being open and being real about emotions being valid and then being the emotions being real. And I think being able to apologise to people, whether that's your kids or your friends or whoever, and recognising that you've hurt somebody else and that you see their emotion and naming it, saying, I know I've upset you, I know that I hurt you, or I can see you're angry and I'm sorry. That goes a long way, and I think that helps people understand that they should probably be doing that too.
Doing that, or be a role model in terms of asking for, being genuinely sorry and saying it to that person when you know that you are wrong, and being a role model, especially in handling rejections, in handling disappointments. You know, you just like, even though, like you said, there are some things you could actually talk to your kids about instead of displacement. I could remember there's one of our guests on this on the Tides platform sometimes back, and you know, he actually talked about displacement. That displacement is when you begin to put your aggression on lesser objects. They're not the source of your frustration. But so you begin to shout on the kids, you begin to shout on people around you, your co-workers, you know. So these are ways we could actually manage all of this, and also teach them. Because we can just simply let them know, oh, I've just been rejected, but I'm trying to cope with this. You know, the fact that you could even speak up, that is courage. So as we wrap up today's conversation on the marks we master and the hidden stones behind I'm fine. So I hope this episode reminds you that the silence is not strength and struggle is not failure. We all carry battles no one sees. We all mask behind the silent storms inside of us, and be assured that an heart of courage itself is strength and not weakness. So a heartfelt thanks to our guest, a beautiful and dedicated mental health nurse, for sharing our insights, our honesty, and our calm wisdom with us today. So your voice has actually brought light to a topic many people quietly, live through, and we appreciate you deeply. And to everyone watching, may you find the courage to check in with yourself. May you find the courage to speak up when you need to, and don't forget to keep rising above the tide. Thank you so much, Bethany.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. All right, see you in our next edition of The Tides, and keep rising above the tides. Bye.